want to talk about the prophetic future of Israel in this message. And I want to talk, just kind of talking in generalities. Of course, Israel is at war with Iran. Now understand, Iran is 75 times larger than Israel as far as land mass. Israel about the size of New Jersey. Iran is massive. So Israel just defeated, in a little over a week, a nation 75 times larger than them with 10 times the population. And they took control of all the Iranian airspace in a matter of hours. And they had been flying with impunity all week long, bombing where they wanted to bomb without any resistance whatsoever. This is the tiny little nation of Israel. How do they do it? By the power of Almighty God. It's the blessing of God on the nation of Israel. The world right now is plotting to impose a two-state solution on Israel. Now this month, the United Nations met. Saudi Arabia and France went to the United Nations with a two-state summit. They planned a two-state summit, and they went there for the purpose of imposing a two-state solution without consulting Israel. Worldwide anti-Semitism is off the charts. This is one of the major signs of the end times. There are only 16 million Jews in the world out of 8 billion people. Only 16 million Jews out of 8 billion people. They're in the news every single day. They're at the centerpiece of foreign policy in the world every day. 16 million Jews have supernaturally garnered the attention of the entire world exactly the way the Bible said in the end times. Jesus was talking in Matthew 24 about the end times. He's speaking to a group of Jewish men. He said, "You'll be hated by all nations for my name's sake." In addition to everything I just said here, you have this unprecedented alliance with the United States. What's happening right now between the United States and Israel has never happened before in history. The greatest Gentile power in world history has come alongside Israel just like this. This is what I believe is going to happen next. This is just my personal interpretation of this. I may be off in some of what I'm saying here. Now, everything I'm saying is going to happen, but I'm just saying in the sequence I'm saying it in. But here's my personal belief in where we go now from here. Number one is a season of peace and rebuilding. I believe that Israel is entering into a season of peace and rebuilding. Now, they have to. There's a war coming, and it's called the Gog and Magog War. Some of you may be understanding that, some may not. Ezekiel 38 prophesies the Gog and Magog War. Ezekiel 37 is the Valley of Dry Bones, about Israel coming back together, which they did in 1948. Ezekiel 38 talks about this war that's coming. Russia, Iran, Turkey, the Sudan, Libya, and all the proxies. These are the nations involved. They're all aligned today. They all hate Israel today. They're all ready today. All the 2,600 years ago, the prophet Ezekiel exactly foretold the geopolitical makeup of our world today. The second thing I believe is going to happen is Israel is going to lose American protection when the church is raptured. Now, the rapture of the church is a private event that takes place between Jesus and the church in the clouds in the air. 1 Thessalonians 4, Luke 17. So we're going to be caught up into the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. The church is going to be removed from the earth. This is called the rapture of the church. Understand, though, Israel's being protected today by America, this incredible relationship that Israel has with America, and the safety that that's going to afford them to be able to do what they're about to do. But when the rapture happens, there are 330 million Americans, and more than half of Americans say that they're Christians. Now, I don't believe that all the people who say they're Christians are Christians. Now, by the way, let's just say that there are 70 million out of 330 million Americans. Let's just say there are 70 million true born-again believers that are raptured. It decimates America overnight. Look at President Trump's cabinet right now. I think they're almost all Christians, very strong Christians. They're gone. President Trump's gone. Militarily, economically, America's decimated. We're not in Bible prophecy, If America is in Bible prophecy, you have to work real hard to find us. Why aren't we in Bible prophecy? And some people will say, well, we're destroyed. I don't believe that. I think the rapture decimates America. And I think after the rapture, the entire geopolitical makeup of the world changes. Number three, the Gog and Magog invasion. With America greatly weakened and in confusion, and with the church removed from the world, Israel becomes vulnerable, and the Gog and Magog coalition sees its opportunity, Ezekiel 38. Next event is the confirmation of the covenant with the Antichrist. The Antichrist is waiting in the wings. I believe he's alive. I believe he's an adult. I believe he's waiting in the wings right now. Next is the rebuilding of the temple. So they're going to confirm a covenant with the Antichrist for 7 years. After that happens, a season of unprecedented peace and restored worship for Israel. 3.5 years of peace, false peace, but they have their temple. And they have animal sacrifices. And they have their priesthood. And everything, this is just a time, for Israel that's just unparalleled for this 3.5 year period. And then the murder of the 2 witnesses and the abomination of desolation. For 3.5 years, they have this false peace. In the middle of the peace, the 3.5 years into it is when the Antichrist shows his true colors, reveals himself. Here's number 8. Israel flees for safety in the wilderness, and the Great Tribulation begins. And so they're going to flee to, in the wilderness there. Petra is an area in southern Jordan. I believe this is where they're going to go. This is Revelation chapter 12. Is where it tells us they're going to have to flee. The Antichrist is going to declare war on the Jews in the second half of the tribulation, and Christians as well. Number 9, Armageddon and the second coming of Jesus. At the very end of this age, when all the world gathers against Israel, the false prophet, the Antichrist, this is when the rapture is a private event that happens at the beginning of the tribulation between Jesus and the church. We go up for a 7-year marriage supper of the Lamb. At the end of that time, Revelation 19, Zechariah 14 both tell this in exact detail, is at the end of that period of time, we return physically with Jesus. This is a private event over here between Jesus and the church. This is a public event when every eye will see him, and he comes publicly back to judge the enemies that have come against Israel. So let me give you some good news. We're on the winning side. Jesus Christ, he's coming to get us. We're going to a 7-year marriage supper of the Lamb. We're returning with him. He's going to take the false prophet and the Antichrist, throw them alive into the lake of fire, kill all the people who have come against Israel, and he's going to bind Satan up for 1,000 years. And we're going to rule and reign with him on this planet for 1,000 years. It's beyond our ability to comprehend. It's just fascinating. And there's one more thing I'll say here, and then I'm going to close. All surviving Jews are saved. The entire nation of Israel is saved at this point. A Jewish person can't be saved without receiving Jesus as their Messiah. Okay, so they're not special in that regard. But understand, in Genesis, God made a covenant, an everlasting covenant with Abraham and with a land called Israel and a people called Israel. Israel's a people in the land. He made an everlasting covenant. And he said, I'll bless those who bless you, I'll curse those who curse you. Understand this, that a Jew can't be saved unless they receive Jesus as their Messiah. But Jewish people are special by covenant. They are in covenant with God, and that is an everlasting covenant, and God is still in that covenant with them, and he's going to fulfill it at the very end when all of them get saved. And right now, he's still being faithful to the land of Israel and to the people of Israel. He'll still use them. That's why we bless the Jews. That's why we stand with the Jews. They're special by covenant. So I believe that we're living in the end of the end times. I don't believe we're living in the end times. I believe we're living in the end of the end times. And I believe that this is something that everybody should think about. And I don't use fear tactics and preaching this and things like that, but I'm just saying everything the Bible said would happen at the end is happening. Look at anti-Semitism. Look at what's happening in Israel. Look at what's happening Russia, Iran, Turkey. They're all aligned. They all hate Israel. They're all ready. They'd attack Israel tomorrow if they could. Everything is so. When you look at that, it comes back to how we live our lives. And the first is the Bible's true. The Bible's a true book. Did you realize there's 1,000 prophecies in the Bible and half of them have come true literally? It's the only book in the world that foretells the future in advance. And so, as believers, Jesus is coming. I believe that the next major event that's going to happen prophetically is the rapture of the church.